There he is again. So yeah, in case people or whoever watches this didn't see the introduction to what I was going to be talking about in terms of hair products, hairstyling tips, this is like an actual review for a line that I've been using, let's think, since 2010, 2011. So it's been a number of years. I've used various different formulations that they create, be it waxes, clays, pomades, hybrids, hair tonics, hair creams, and so on. And that brand is called REUZEL. You might have heard of them. If you haven't, just a brief description. They're just a company, I believe, founded in Holland or Netherlands, whatever you want to say it. The guys, they're all like tattooed up, fairly big guys, fairly hairy, all with wild hairstyles, kind of a lot of personality and character. And I actually discovered them just randomly in a barber's, having the first ever experience of a proper pomade in my hair, and just how it held the hair, how nice it smelled, the tub and everything, and just being really curious as to who they were, and then ending up next time I'm going there buying this product and then going from there. So long and short of it, I'll go through roughly prices, the range that they have, the various styles that can be done, which is pretty much all. That's again why this is a recommended brand, because they're very good in the sense of versatility and what they offer. They're not just like a one-trick pony where it's just they only do a pomade of this type, like a really heavy hold, very greasy. They literally offer, from my understanding, like multiple products. So let's just say they offer 20 different, they might even offer more, but 20 different hair products, different smells, different designs, but all following the philosophy of like being a kind of I don't want to say like punk rock, but kind of like, you know, that kind of era of like slick back pompadour vibe that they give, but yet they're very popular like modern day. And albeit you do get a lot of competition in that kind of field for hair products, I think that these are a premium brand that just sort of stand above a lot against a lot of the others, in my opinion, from my own experience. In terms of availability, I've only ever bought them from barbershops and online. I've never seen them in a supermarket or anything like that. They tend to be, I don't want to say a niche brand, because I think that they are actually a big brand, but let's just say more of a niche premium brand that isn't readily available in shops. So you'd have to look online, or depending on the barbers that you use, they stock different, you know, like say again, without going off into a tangent, American Crew is very popular in certain Tony and Guy, certain hairdressers in the UK, as well as different countries, I assume. As I said, these are originated from Holland or Netherlands, either or, the same country but different place. Some places call it Netherlands, some places call it Holland, but yeah, so it's either Amsterdam or somewhere where it originated from. So without further ado, luckily I've kept, obviously I still use them to this day. The hair products, I'm not going to, because I've got so many, I'm not going to be putting them in my hair because I've already got something in my hair, but I'll just briefly go over them, some of the notes of what I would recommend them for, what they're good at, what they're not so good at, and an overall rating at the end. So the first one that I ever used back in 2010, I don't obviously have a tub of that, and that was this. It looks like this, I'll actually show you. So it's this kind of, you know, like the Pig, REUZEL, Holland's Finest is its advertising, Holland's Finest pomade. First one was a green version of this, which was, I believe it was called a heavy grease. So it smelt of apples, which is nice. It was, I wouldn't say easy to wash out, but it was very easy to apply. It could be styled in various ways. Primarily at that time, I had a very slick back look, less volume on the front, less of a pompadour. It was all kind of slick back size. It was very neat and tidy, and it was very good for that, because again, in terms of slick backs, you kind of need a strong hold or a lightweight pomade, but something that's versatile And in that regard, the green, I know I'm holding up grey because I don't have the green tub, but or tin even, the green tub was tin even, was good for that purpose. So again, back in the 2010s, that's, and as I mentioned, for that sort of hairstyle, it would be recommended. When I mentioned about it being hard to wash out, it's because, but the nature of the fact that it's a grease, obviously it's going to stay in the hair, but you might just have to wash it a second time, or just be mindful of how much you're applying to the hair. In terms of like side effects with the hair, I never noted any kind of damage from this line. Again, that's one of the reasons why I would recommend this these products from this company, because of the fact that despite the way that it would be a grease, or how it would hold in the hair, on the back obviously there's an ingredient breakdown, very small writing. I'm not going to go through all of this, but for peace of mind, I remember using it and thinking, what's the long-term damage of this hair? But if anything, as I've mentioned in a previous video, since switching over from some of the cheaper brands for pomades and so on, which again I'll mention in another video, I always found that this brand to be very consistent, and hence why I was willing to pay a bit more for the quality that come from using these products. So that was the green one. And then obviously we've got, without going too much into information or too in depth about the various other product lines, they're all pretty good, they all do a slightly different thing. This is the pomade, which was like the next one up, or fibre pomade even. Sorry, I'll read the exact writing. So it's extreme hold matte pomade. So again, it gives more of like a matte textured finish with the hold of the pomade, but less greasy. So you can see why I was recommended this, or Barbara put it in my hair, and then I later, you know, experimented with this. So that was when I was going through a phase of using this more in my hair, because it was the plus point, it did the same thing, it was easy to wash out. And at that time I was adding more of like a kind of a in between, it was a slip back but with a bit of a pompadour, so you don't want too much heavy grease in that hair. Again, I'm not saying you don't. Some people just almost reapply the grease or the pomade like back in the day. That kind of image of, say, grease in the grease film, you know, with the greaser look, where it's just constantly combing the hair, reapplying more stuff to the hair, which obviously most people would admit isn't good for long-term hair health. But at the time, it, you know, it looks pretty cool just being able to top up your hair, keeping that style forever in a day, and then now and then just combing it out, or combing it into a different style or whatever. So then we go on to, and around about that time again, it's just, you know, all of these products are a very similar thing. They all have a different smell and a different way of styling the hair. So again, it's just something that people do. You could argue, why would you, if the product's that good, why would you always use the same one? That's a valid point. But again, it's the same as with like aftershaves for me. You could even say with clothes and the style, you could just wear the same colour in the same dress or shirt all the time, but you know, variety is the spice of life, and you don't know till you try. Sometimes you can find a product in the same line that actually is better fitted to you, or looks better on you than what you're used to. So again, you don't know till you try. So this is a fibre pomade, so slightly different. This is more like a creamy. I'm not going to open them up because these are empties. The ones that are full, you can imagine, like I'll open them at a later date. But yeah, so fibre pomade, similar to the other one, but just more creamy consistency, less harder hold, more of like almost more like a pomade, in the sense it's like it's an in-between. I'm not going to say that you can only do certain styles with certain hair. I'm just talking about my own experience with it, and the product and what they could offer. So there's that one. And then for people who might be scared or just don't want to use greases or harder or heavier, I should say, hairstyling products, they also have a water soluble version, and this is like high sheen. So again, this is more of like the traditional pomade look, giving the wet look and the slick back kind of, but a lot easier to wash out and more water soluble. So again, easier to wash out. So it's good that they've been over the years, expanding and doing different niche products for different people, because again, it's, you know, you could, like some companies, they'll just have that one flagship product, without naming names, the same in the fragrance industry. But if after 10-20 years everyone's using that, sometimes people want something different. Or as knowledge and understanding grows, some people realise that putting grease in the hair isn't always good, and likewise some people might not want to spend the time always having a certain look hair with, say, a wet look. They might want something with a matte effect. So again, that's why these products are developed, to give a different effect. They all basically do the same thing, but slightly different. Just to kind of reiterate that point, because again, for some people, based on their own personality, they might only want that one hair product that they use for all their life, kind of like stories of your granddad using the original Brill cream when that was the Brill cream, not the gel, the pomade, and then sticking with that all their life. That's up to them. But other people, they want a bit of variety. They want maybe to, I don't know, sport different hair. When they have different haircuts or hairstyles, then they have to, you know, adjust accordingly. So this is what I use more recently. So this is kind of like, ironically, going back in time from when I first discovered the green version of this, being the green grease. This is a grease heavy hold, so this is actually more of a heavy duty hold than the green one. It's exactly the same as the green, but it holds the hair longer. So for me, that's why I gravitated more towards that as I've got a bit older, because I tend to find that if I'm working, say, a long shift, and I don't have to worry about restyling hair or my hair falling apart, or in terms of the style, it's ideal for that. So for like an all-day hold, it's pretty on the money. It's not that you have to spend more money than these. If anything, across the range, they're very, very similar price. So you can kind of see why I gravitate more towards this as I got older, in terms of working longer hours or working through the night, or then going to the gym on the same day, or going shopping, or whatever the fuck you're doing. Again, depending on who you are, and depending on what you're up to, and depending on your hairstyle, you try to buy the product accordingly. So again, as I'm mentioning, from my own experience with these products, you can kind of see why they all fit a certain category or even a certain hairstyle, and I'm just giving some little pointers, little notes as to what they're good at. So in terms of a long day hold, this is the best of the bunch, and this is the one that I currently use. I've gone through, this is a small tub, I've got a larger tub that I've already gone through over here. So again, just so I can open this up. So again, they smell very nice. They have, you know, each one has a different smell about it, a different smell profile. Again, I'm not just buying it for the smell, it's just, it's nice and it's pleasant that it's a nice smell, because obviously if you're having it in your hair, you don't want it to smell bloody awful. And again, if you can kind of see, obviously there's only remnants of it in there. It's a strong holding grease. I'm not going to put it on my hands because I'm going to have to wash it off my hands. And it's very sticky as well. Even holding the tub, it's sticky. So it's very potent, shall we say, this one. In terms of the others, obviously you've got the water soluble that just washes off your hands and hair easy. Then you've got the fibre that's an in-between. And then you've got the matte hold, which gives a different look to the hair. And it's like it's kind of a culmination of the hold of this with the style of that. And then obviously you can also stick it back as well. Sorry, with this one it's more of like a slick back or like a light hold. So they all do slightly different things. Try and wrap this up. And then obviously this was a kind of just a wild card I bought just before Christmas. It was, from my understanding, a fairly new one, and it's meant to be a hybrid between the strong hold water soluble. So it's the hold, meant to be the hold of this one, which I can confirm, which is surprising, and water soluble, so it washes out. The only problem I found with this was that it gives a really high shine, and as I have very dark hair anyway, and due to product use anyway, I tend to have kind of shiny hair by default. Even if I wash my hair, it's not like it's still got product in, but it's become like almost a permanent fixture. You could say it's almost like greasy hair or whatever, which again is a common trait with a lot of guys who use products in their hair for years. But I just found for me, depending on or the style that I have, I'm growing my hair out at the moment, but if I was to have shorter hair or a slick back, I'd recommend the blue. But for me, I have a bit more volume, a bit higher hair and longer hair now. I need a kind of product that will hold it, but without giving too much of a shine. That's just personal taste. I just thought I'd mention that. So again, I have still a lot of this left. Just open it up. So again, it smells very nice. Ours smells slightly different, not chemically at all, and very pleasant. So yeah, I use this off and on. It was just more of an experiment because, again, having rated their products over the years, I've been using them over 10 years, closer to 15 years. So I know what I'm talking about in terms of how I've used them. I've gone through various tubs. It's just some of the tubs I held on to. Just more for people, more for my own memory as to what ones I'd use, and obviously I'll always keep a little remnant of it so I can look at it and remember what it did. Obviously, putting this video out there, it becomes sort of like a timestamp for myself as well, because I've never done this for hair products before, or helped people out, but not for myself or for the channel. So yeah, oh, there's two more hiding away. Neil, the fragrances, they actually looked like fragrances for a moment, or one of them did, in my dark room, my dark room. And then we've got a hair tonic. So again, I didn't actually mention that in terms of with the hairstyling, because this is a new one on me. Again, without going off into a big tangent of hair tonics, what this is designed for, has a bit of alcohol in it. You can get non-alcohol as well. Mild hairstyling. So if, say, you washed everything out your hair and you put this in your hands, rub your hands together, go through your scalp and all your hair, blow dry, it will give a mild style. It's actually not too bad in that sense. It will hold it. So if you're chilling at home, or if you just don't like having a lot of hair product in your hair but you need something to mildly style it, I actually recommend this over a hairspray. A lot less harsh in terms of how it dries down in the hair as well. It's kind of, you can style it different ways and it doesn't hold it, you know, like with a hairspray. It's just like, you put half a can on and it will just hold that hair like some like cement. And then you could argue don't put much of a hairspray on, but in my opinion, whenever I've used a hairspray back in the day, I never felt it was justifiably better than any of the other hair products that I've mentioned now, or in, you know, again, for my opinion, wouldn't use a hairspray. I wouldn't recommend them. As a guy, yeah, some might swear by them, but again, got to look at their hairstyle and their experience of other products. I've used a shit ton of products over the years, so again, a bit like fragrances, I can give more of a honest opinion because of the fact that I've got experience with them, rather than just say this is, I've used this for 100 years. So if I've used this for 10-20 years and this is the only product I've ever used and this is what I swear by, again, that's nice, but I'm not really drawing comparison between others. So as I said, as a side note, this is something that you can use as a pre-hair styler. It can add a bit of volume, or a pre-style before you put in one of the heavier duty products to give it a bit more volume and so on. So again, in terms of the pricing, it varies, again, from the smaller tubs, anywhere from 10, like again, I tend to get them when they're on offer on Amazon. It can be £10-12 for the small, up to 20-30 for the large. It sounds like a lot, but they're very large tub and they last a long time. This can vary from like 10 to 15, I thought, and I thought that was kind of expensive. Again, I don't tend to use this that often. There's meant to be anecdotal information that it can stimulate hair follicles and be like an elixir for the hair in terms of promoting hair growth and so on. I don't know how true that is. I think that goes back to the old snake salesman of many hundreds of years ago, you know, selling the special hair tonics to grow hair. Again, I didn't buy it for that fact. It was just because I rate the line. I wanted to see that what this new product that they brought out was like. And in terms of simplifying it, yeah, it does a good job for pre-hold, pre-styling, applying to slightly tail-dried hair, blow drying into place, whatever style you want, and then going with either that at home or putting extra products in to bring out whatever desired effect you want. So that's recommended but expensive. So there are other hair tonics on the market. In that sense, again, I've not used them, so I'm not going to say they're better or worse, but I think there's one called Vitalis or Viralis. I might be butchering that name, but it's meant to be very popular hair tonic, and it's I believe a little bit cheaper than this. So again, having not used that, there's just some. I just thought I'll put that out there. Again, all of the other products I recommend wholeheartedly, both for the price and the quality, and how much or how little you have to actually use of the product. It does what it says. It does. I don't want to say it does what it says on the tin, but yeah, they work, and they're recommended. And again, this one is just to end on this. This is a grooming cream. Again, this was on offer. I think it was like £5-6, but I think it's a lot more when you buy it. But it was on offer. I bought another one on Amazon, and this was like on sale, and I just thought I'd pick it up. It holds the hair a bit stronger than the hair tonic. If anything, that they do say this isn't really a pre-styler, this is an actual styler. I've never used a grooming cream before in my experience. I've used it a few times. It's okay. Again, I just don't think it's as good as their main line products. It's more of like you know, like something a bit different. He actually recommends, or it's to give like yeah, blow dried or thoroughly towel dried hair. So it's they're treating this more of like a hairstyling product. And again, I'm not going to go right into it. I just don't think it's as good or as targeted at different things as the other ones. So it's more of like a hybrid of the above. Again, I've not used it enough to draw comparisons with other things. I've never used a grooming cream before. I just think it's more of like we want to do something a bit different, market in a different way. But in all honesty, you know, the other tubs that I've mentioned, you know, these all do slightly different things, but they're the ones you want to go for. The hair tonic's more like a luxury if you can afford it. I wouldn't recommend that you need that. In all honesty, from when I've used it, it can create a different effect, but I just think the money's better you know, put on the mainline products, and you can't really go wrong with that. So anyway, so in terms of a rating, I've gone through pricing, I've gone through the different products. Obviously this is a long video because it's a long line. From now on, obviously when I talk about product lines, it'll be a lot short and sweeter, because again, with a lot of the other products, they're not as extensive as this one. I've not used them for 15+ years, so again, trying to condense 15+ years of experience with a product and trying to be open and honest about it. And you know, unless the video's heavily edited, it's hard to condense that. Again, there'll be people who maybe argue with that, but you know, if you're willing to help me or give me tips on that, like I've just been giving knowledge and tips forward, then reciprocated effort is appreciated, isn't it? And that's how that works. So yeah, in terms of a rating, I'll give that a 10 out of 10 in terms of the line. Individually, the products obviously vary because of personal choice of the hairstyle and what I'm going for, and vice versa, but I don't really think you can go wrong with any of them that I've shown. The green, the grey, the pink, the blue, the water soluble, the orange, and so on, they're all solid like 8, 9, 10 out of 10s, but overall the line, the price, and so on, it's like a 10 out of 10. And I don't tend to do that. I've not done that with any of my fragrances. I don't tend to give a product a 10 out of 10, but I really can't fault them at all. Hence why for the past 15 years I've predominantly just used this line. Now and then on Amazon especially, they have sales for different brands, different pomade lines, and even in the past, again, without spoiling the follow-up reviews for different lines, of like black and white pomade or Plucko pomade. I think one's an Italian pomade, or a very famous Italian pomade, Tanex or something like that. I used it about 2 years ago, or sorry, a year and a half ago rather. So yeah, I'll end this video there, as it's gone on long enough. But again, it's concise and it's gone through all of the points, the pricing, and the overall rating being a 10 out of 10. So I can more than recommend this. And again, for people, for peace of mind getting into these products, hopefully this information I've put out can help you choose which tub to start off with, and then go from there. So yeah, and breathe.